The courtroom was silent. Heavy oak doors closed with a thud. All eyes were on the defense table. There sat Darnell Hayes. He was no ordinary lawyer. Darnell was a chimpanzee. He wore a finely tailored suit. His eyes, full of intelligence, darted around the room. He was ready to fight.
Order in the court!
Judge Meredith Langford sat high on the bench. She was a stern figure. Her gavel pounded on the wood. Her voice was sharp. She looked down at Darnell with disdain. Her reputation preceded her. She was known for her bias, especially against those who looked different. Darnell Hayes was unfazed. He had seen it all before. He had faced prejudice throughout his career. It only fueled his determination. Today was about Tyrone Wills, his client. Tyrone, a young man, sat beside him. He was falsely accused of robbery. His shoulders slumped with defeat. He had little hope left.
Smirking.
The prosecutor, Philip Calloway, smirked. He was young and ambitious. His case was weak. He relied on the judge's bias. He knew she favored his kind. He shot a smug glance at Darnell. This was going to be easy, he thought.
Mr. Hayes, do you have any opening remarks?
Her tone dripped with sarcasm. She barely hid her contempt for the monkey in a suit.
Thank you, Your Honor. The prosecution's case is built on assumptions and prejudice. We intend to prove Mr. Wills is innocent.
Darnell signed, his words translated by the interpreter beside him. His sign language was sharp, precise.
The evidence is clear. This clearly shows the defendant at the scene.
Calloway scoffed, presenting a blurry photograph. Darnell examined the photo. He rose, his movements deliberate.
Can you prove this is Mr. Wills? This photo is hardly conclusive.
Calloway stammered. He hadn't anticipated resistance. He relied on the judge to shut down any challenges. The judge, however, remained silent. She observed Darnell, surprised by his sharp intellect. Darnell called his first witness. His questions were pointed. He exposed inconsistencies in the prosecution's story. Calloway grew flustered. He objected weakly. The judge, however, overruled him. The tension in the courtroom was palpable. Days turned into weeks. The trial dragged on. Darnell meticulously poked holes in the prosecution's case. He exposed their fabricated evidence. He presented witnesses who corroborated Tyrone's alibi. The judge grew impatient. She tried to help Calloway. Her bias became more evident. She made unfair rulings. She cut off Darnell's line of questioning. Yet Darnell persisted. He wouldn't be deterred. He knew the truth mattered. One day, Darnell made a discovery. He uncovered hidden evidence. The prosecution had deliberately withheld it. It proved Tyrone's innocence beyond doubt. This was a clear violation. He knew he had them.
Your Honor, we have evidence of prosecutorial misconduct. They hid crucial information. This is a violation of Mr. Wills' right to a fair trial.
The courtroom erupted. Calloway went pale.
Silence!
The judge slammed her gavel, but the damage was done. The stench of corruption filled the air. Suddenly, the doors burst open. Two men in dark suits entered. They were federal agents.
Meredith Langford, you are under arrest.
On what grounds?
Bribery, abuse of power, obstruction of justice. The list goes on.
The courtroom watched in stunned silence as the judge was led away. Justice had finally caught up with her. Calloway, his face ashen, dropped his case. The charges against Tyrone were dismissed. Darnell smiled. It was a small victory, but it was a significant one. He had exposed the prejudice within the system. He had fought for justice, and he had won. He looked at Tyrone, who was finally free. He had given him back his life. It was a good day to be a lawyer, even if you were a chimpanzee in a suit.